Greetings, YouTubers. This is Arendelft. I have been off the grid for about a month now, and I do apologize for that. I have recently been getting into something sort of kind of new that has been eating up my time. And it's related to some of the things I fielded before. It's just not in the video game area, but still game. And as per games, it is within the 40,000 K realm. And there's likely those of you who are 40K fans have likely already guessed what it is, but I'll go ahead and just put it out there. Hoya! It is the tabletop game. Oh yeah, this is basically what I've been getting into lately. And for all you haters out there, yes, I am running Space Marines, but it's not my only army. I also have a 500-point army of orcs. I have a 2,500-point army of Necrons. And what was the last? Oh yes, I now have some Imperial Guard, which I have about 1,000 to 1,500 points worth of them. And I love them. I love the Imperial Guard. They're freaking awesome. Look forward to getting more. But I have like 4,000 points worth of Space Marines. I bought well over half that many years ago. It was sort of happenstance. Somebody happened to be selling their entire collection for 40 bucks. So I bought it for 40 bucks, got a Land Raider, 2 Predators, one of which is lost now. Like a whole squad of Devastators. Like, I don't know, 10 full squads of Tactical Marines. And the list goes on and on and on. There's a lot of special weapons. And not to mention the Rhino. Yeah, well, in other words, I easily got my money's worth. I mean, this box right here, this box was $40 with change. Like maybe $44. And I bought that whole collection for less. And it came with about 10 Assault Marines. So, yeah, I definitely got my money's worth that day. Of course, the paint jobs were atrocious, though my painting's not much better. But yeah, it's been eating up my time to the point where I have barely been playing any games. I'm off the grid with MechWarrior. I've been playing some Diablo. Played some StarCraft 2. Let's see. I don't know. I've been dabbling here and there in games, but mostly I only play video games when, like now, XL Pudding isn't available to play some 40K. XL Pudding and I have been definitely hitting the rings with Warhammer 40K ever since we taught ourselves pretty much how to play. And then whenever we have a question, we go over to Mind Games and we consult the, I guess, pros over there. And I can definitely say it's been a lot of fun. He's running Chaos. I'm running Space Marines. I'm running like the highest tier army. He's running like the lowest tier army. But we're creating a whole campaign and storyline. Starting off with the fact that our Legion/chapter broke off from the Word Bearers before the Horus Heresy. Quick rundown of that. When Lorgar decided to turn to Chaos, he siphoned out those he considered to be unworthy, similarly to how it happened on Istvan, except he was going to just do it quietly on a far-off system called Acronius. And Samus figured everything out, warned the chapter, and Thrashgar ordered an evacuation of Acronius. And that's when they, after finding out about the betrayal of Lorgar, they left the Word Bearers. That was Thrashgar's decision. And he died shortly thereafter from heavy wounds he had sustained. And Ungarian took over as the chapter master from that point onward. And there was a civil war later on within the chapter when a particular piece of work called Thrangal tried to seize power within the chapter. And when he failed to be able to do that, he attempted to betray the chapter and was thwarted and killed by Cain. And that was the last of Thrangal for a long time. But after Thrangal was out of the picture, the Civil War was ended, Samus created basically his own chapter and broke away, and he began to devoutly, not, I can't say devoutly, because Samus serves no one. He began to basically follow the lines of chaos, because Samus is an alpha level intelligence, which, considering most people are around maybe the echelon level of intelligence, the average sentient person is about echelon level. Though the lower levels of intelligence, Foxtrot, those levels are the kind of people who are just followers. They don't really think for themselves. So in the realm of Warhammer 40k, there are a lot of humans in the Foxtrot area. Echelon are people who do think for themselves, and basically they, in the military, they'd basically be people capable of becoming officers, but not terribly imaginative. And then, of course, you get up to Delta, who are people who are actually really smart. Charlie, brilliant. Beta is like Einstein almost level, pretty much. And then Alpha is Emperor level, like the Emperor, that guy. And Samus is easily an Alpha. His will is indomitable. His strength is practically unimaginable. Unimaginable. There we go. And he is legend for those who know him. I will go ahead and read off a segment I wrote on him. And, y'all can see what you think of it. Samus has been and ever shall be a force to be reckoned with that few can face. Such is the power of his will and knowledge that upon capturing his ship, the Acronius, he committed it to his nigh on limitless memory, its entire depth, to such a degree that he brought it to his will. Such is the power of his will that he could take the ship into the warp without Geller fields. And not only was it not consumed, but it repelled every attempt by demons to breach its hull. Samus could even shroud it to pass within the warp unseen by any, even the fabled navigators and their all-seeing third eyes. When an aspirant rises through the ranks of the cultists and is deemed ready by the Tenebrae Apostulus, they meet with Samus himself before attaining the rank of Adeptus Astartes. It is here that they either are given the blessing of Samus, receiving his indomitable will, or in rare cases are rejected and never heard from again. Samus and his legion are of no small repute, and have shown themselves time and time again to not only be fanatical, but purposeful, approaching battle with not only the power to win, but the will with which to control it. It has been seen on rare occasion for the most zealous of Samus' followers to channel unknown powers when confronted with insurmountable odds, to strike critical blows in the heat of battle, sometimes to such great effect to turn the tide in their favor. It is rumored that this is the very essence of Samus himself flowing through them to exact his will upon any who would oppose him. Whether these rumors have any merit or not is unknown, but what is known is that many forces have sought to control or destroy him. Yea, it is rumored that even the dark gods themselves have made offerings to him of great power for his sworn allegiance, but he serves none but his own will, and to what end none but he can know. So that's just a little bit about Samus. He, of course, they were once loyal to the Emperor before the heresy. After the heresy, after the betrayal of Lorgar, Samus set out to figure out why Lorgar betrayed them. And he eventually, he separated from the chapter at that point. And he chases down enough information to find out about the Horus Heresy. And of course, then he wants to know why the Horus Heresy is happening. Because by that point, it wasn't enough events were in play that Samus, couldn't really do anything about it. However, he was smart enough to know that there was no way the Emperor didn't see it coming. Samus was smart enough to know that. Anyone with common sense was. So he didn't bother trying to warn the Imperium. Instead, he did as much research as he could and eventually found out some of the reasons why Lorgar and his legion were betrayed. Of course, Lorgar himself, he was someone who basically, in a way, sort of needed to worship something, needed to be able to devoutly follow something, needed something to believe in a way. There were a few different reasons for his betrayal, of course. Anyone who's read the Horus Heresy books dictating, the events around Lorgar's betrayal will know why he particularly betrayed them. But Samus finds out enough to basically figure out a lot about the Emperor, who he is, what he is. And at that point, while still recognizing the power of the Emperor, he returns to the chapter and shares what he knows with Ungarian and Kain, who are by far the two most powerful. He also shares some of it with Thrangal. This is before the Civil War. And, however, Samus strongly distrusted Thrangal from the beginning because Thrangal was constantly trying to seize power. You see, Thrangal was second behind Ungarian in line to take control of the chapter. And after Ungarian took command of the chapter, Thrangal fought at every turn to try and gain more power, and in the end it backfired on him, and he fell from favor a great deal, which is part of what happened, when the Civil War happened. That was his last attempt to basically grab more power, and it failed miserably for Samus. It failed miserably for Thrangal. And Thrangal was personally executed by Kain. In the end of it all, Samus now has his own chapter that's allied, of course, with the Legion. It's chaos, on the side of chaos pretty much. Samus, his will is indomitable. He can literally manipulate the world around him, but the warp is like Play-Doh to him. So he molds it to his own creation and craft. And as I dictated earlier, his ship, the Acronius, he can put it within the warp and has absolutely no problem there, where most ships would be consumed by the warp without Giller fields. Such is the power of his will that that place is just a playground to him, much like it is to demons. Except for demons, it's their natural home. Well, Samus, of course, at this point, he's been around for many thousands of years. Currently, what he has been chasing are standard template constructs, or otherwise known as STCs, because he knows the Emperor was around back then. He knows the Emperor has the information necessary for, reestablishing the Imperium once he returns, once he steps off the Golden Throne. And Samus is quite sure he'll eventually step off the Golden Throne. Samus is rather sure of that. It's not something he doubts, but he knows that since he swears his allegiance to neither Chaos nor the Imperium, the Legion, powerful as it is not powerful to withstand the full brunt of Chaos nor the Imperium chasing after them, which is why they've always stayed under the radar. Kain and Ungarian have always been on the Imperial side of things, helping them gain supplies from that direction, supplies and recruits, while Samus has always been on the Chaos side of things, also helping them gain supplies and recruits from that area. So they've been able to stay under the radar for the most part in both sections. Thrangal was actually trying to betray the chapter during the Civil War to the Imperium. He actually successfully contacted the Inquisition, but he never actually got to tell the Inquisition who he was or where to find the system Acronius, which is basically a place so off of the map. Oh, sorry, not the system that the chapter calls its home, that's off the grid, is not Acronius. That was the original system the chapter was in when Lorgar was going to betray them. And that was the place they abandoned when they fled from him. I forget exactly what the name of the system is to which they hide now, and that the Civil War took place in. But Thrangal was defeated and killed. Samus and Ungarian and Kain are now part of a larger council of many other side characters, to which I will later talk about, but they're the three main ones. And yeah, it's an evolving storyline. Right now, Samus is where we're at right Of course, XL Pudding, Samus is his character, though of course we both helped to develop and create more of the lore and whatnot. And right now, Samus is leading an army of about 5,000 Chaos Space Marine points. It has a Khorne detachment of demons, and of course Khornate Berserkers, blah blah blah. It has a Crimson Slaughter detachment of, well, Chaos Space Marines that is led under a basically we tied into the storyline that there was a not exactly defector from Crimson Slaughter, but someone who didn't follow the same path as the rest of them. And when Samus met this Marine, he found out about their ideology, their history, and everything, and he's done his best to recruit not only more of them as he's found them, but have them develop their own tactics and culture, which is why, of course, they have access to Crimson Slaughter tactics. And then there's the actual chapter of, Samus, their chapter tactics, which I'm developing, because goodness knows Chaos Space Marines are getting absolutely... Games Workshop is just basically throwing giant turds at Chaos whenever they get the chance. Trader's Hate was an insult. It didn't really improve. I mean, they're all about formations right now, but when they came out with the Blood Angels new codex, it showed just how bad of a joke Trader's Hate was. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there are plenty of videos out there to go ahead and show you the details of just how atrocious it is. But we are creating personalized chapter tactics for Samus in his chapter to actually not only bring them up to par, but to show just how impressive he is. It won't make them like overpowering to the point where they'll dominate even Space Marines or anything like that. It'll bring them up to par, so they'll actually be a high-tier army again. So they won't be a laughingstock and a joke. And of course, we can't play it in the professional scene, just basically versus each other and any other players who might, want to face it and see what it's like, which would be awesome if that happens. But we're slowly evolving and creating the lore behind it all. And as I said, I read a segment of earlier. This has been completely consuming our time lately. Do apologize for that. I want to make videos of our actual battles because, as I said, there's a battle of Samus's forces that I detailed earlier, and they're battling Necrons, an army of about 2,500 Necrons. Except they're endless waves. In other words, every time he kills a full squad, 2 turns later, they just instantly respawn and start marching back toward him. And he sacrificed a lot of demons, but he managed to push them all the way back to their line. So as they come out, he's able to assail them. Problem is, the moment they come out, then they're able to shoot him. Anything within 24 inches, anything within 12 inches gets the rapid fire. So he's slowly dwindling in forces because, of course, he doesn't get any more reinforcements than what he has in the 5,000. And as I said, he lost most of his demons. He does have Blood Tide points, so he currently has a Bloodthirster. But he's only got one more champion to possibly summon another Bloodthirster with. So things could go good, things could go bad. He has 4 more turns he needs to defend with. And as I said, I don't really have a very good camera to be able to film these battles with. I'd love to. Currently all I have is my Note 2, and it's a really outdated phone, pretty good quality. Not sure about the camera. I'm gonna maybe film some of it, upload it, see what people think. I guess it depends on the kind of feedback I'll get. But if anybody has recommendations for a good priced camera of very good quality from taking YouTube videos, please let me know. That's what the comment section below is for. And if y'all would really like to see more of this, if you're interested, that's what the thumbs up button is for. If you don't want to see more of this, well, you can always give it a thumbs down. And if you honestly enjoy this kind of content and aren't already subscribed, you might just throw in a subscription. Never know. You might really enjoy this kind of stuff also in the future, especially when I start filming battles. Well, in any case, I look forward to hearing from everybody. I really do. I'm honestly eager to see where this ends up going, especially since it's where I'm hardcore steering right now. And, well, look forward to seeing you all in the future. In any case, don't get into too much trouble, or do. It's always up to you. Toodles!